What is up, Flick fans, and welcome back to my channel. Guys, look at this. Check this out. I am live talking to my cousin Joseph Burke. He is also the co-host to my podcast. Joe, you just watched Guardians of the Galaxy Vol.2. How you feeling right now, man?
Dude, there was so much to take in. I was sitting there processing everything, and I literally had to go out to the lobby and just kind of decompress. I was like, I saw that. There was that. Oh my God, that happened. Oh my gosh. James Gunn.
Groot, put your seatbelt on! So we're saving the galaxy again? Yep.
It was a massive film. Yeah. It was a massive film, so much to soak in, but we're going to tell you guys our thoughts right now. Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2, directed by James Gunn, starring a plethora of amazing, incredible actors, and some actors and actresses that y'all don't know, but this is a non-spoiler review, so we're not going to say that yet. But Joe, I want to get your immediate thoughts. What did you enjoy about Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2?
I enjoyed that right off the bat. First, they established a really awesome base in Guardians of the Galaxy, the first movie. Oh. And I think they took elements from that movie that worked and just amplified it to volume 10, if you will. No pun intended on volume. But I think they just amplified it. And, you know, Drax's comments, I mean, his one-liners were so on point in this movie. Great. And the fact that the character development, the character integration, honestly, it was just amazing. There were so many parts. I can't even begin to comprehend. If I was to narrow it down to one, I don't think at this moment I can, because it's just it's a movie that answers a lot of questions to a lot of Marvel fans. And it's also a film that ties a lot of stuff cinematically that's going on in the MCU right now. It is kind of, Guardians is that new conduit, if you will, to Phase 3. To the middle area of Phase 3. So, yeah, there's so much. There's so much. Baby Groot, that was like freaking awesome for me.
So cute.
Oh, right? Baby Groot for the win, man. So, what was like some of your highlights for you?
Oh man, highlights for me. I mean, like you said, just the scale of this movie, it just seemed bigger than the first one, and I appreciate that. I think James Gunn, his idea of what this universe is now is so large and just big, and he's kind of like doing the whole George Lucas-y thing with Star Wars. This kind of is Marvel's Star Wars.
Yeah.
He is building this entire universe with all of these characters. You guys are going to absolutely love the cameos in this movie. You're going to love seeing, if you're a big comics fan, you're going to love seeing these special things, planets, characters, and even some references to music. We got to talk about the score. And while I didn't think the score was as good as the first one, I loved it. I mean, I loved the song choices. I loved the songs that they played in the trailer, they played in the movie, and it got y'all fired up. And I really think that played very well with this movie. My favorite character, man, Yondu. I thought Yondu was incredible. I love Michael Rooker.
Michael Rooker, man. Oh my gosh. Of course, we all know Michael. Most of us know him from The Walking Dead, but my goodness, has he not made a transition into the Marvel Cinematic Universe as Yondu? And honestly, if you didn't like him, or you kind of liked him in the first film, you're going to love him, and he's going to grow on you so much more in Volume 2.
Absolutely.
And there's so much. We don't want to say too much about it because we want you to enjoy the film as well. But there is definitely some awesome dynamics, awesome character development that we get to see at the forefront with Yondu and Star-Lord. And I just love the development of that and that relationship. So, yes.
That's a great call, man. The character dynamics is one thing that I really want to hit on, because if we're talking positives, and we still are right now, the dynamics between Gamora and Nebula, Star-Lord and Yondu, Rocket and even Baby Groot, and then Rocket and Yondu. There's so many character dynamics that you don't think of going in. Drax and Mantis, and the way that these guys communicate with each other, it builds their individual characters. And I come to appreciate them more as individuals by the end of this movie because of the way that they interact. And I think that's brilliant screenwriting by James Gunn.
It
Absolutely
is.
brilliant.
He left no stone unturned in the development of these characters. You hit the nail on the head with Drax and Mantis. It's just funny, comical, but at the same time,
Hilarious.
there's also moments that touch your heart. Even talking with Drax and Mantis, and I just it's just amazing writing from James Gunn on this one.
It really is, and the heartfelt moments I think is what really, because there are parts to this movie, and we'll talk about that here in just a second, that kind of slow down and maybe
Hmm.
drag the movie on. But those heartfelt moments are really the thing that keeps you engaged. And by the time the movie's over, there's going to be tears, there's going to be emotions, things that you don't expect to see on screen, you're going to see on screen, and I think that's amazing and very ballsy, if I will say that, by James Gunn to do some of the things that he did in this movie. Very, very ballsy, Joe.
Yes, in light of Cinco de Mayo, it is cojones that he has. Yes,
Cojones. He has so
yes,
many
he's got the
cojones.
cojones. Yes.
But while he made some amazing things happen on screen, there were some mistakes. And I know, Joe, I've not really talked to you about negatives yet, but do you have any negatives to Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2? Any things that you didn't like?
A really good question. I actually there was some slow moments, and I understand
Mhm.
that you just can't open up a movie and have 30 minutes of nonstop action. I understand that. I mean
Yeah.
that wears on your psyche, that wears on your attention span and your patience. And there does have to be moments of character development. There was some slow moments. I kind of felt where I don't want to give too much. There was a scene in the prison where Yondu's kind of talking to Rocket, and it's kind of a slow moment.
Hmm.
So that's not a spoiler alert. That's just
Yeah,
that's just a scene.
absolutely.
And
Hmm.
there was a couple things like that. Specifically though, um, for me, it was really confusing at the beginning with Star Lord and his father, how all of that dynamic played out, because you have this entity that is a celestial being, and how in this world did he come and have a spawn of a child? And
Yeah.
but it was one of those things where you have to wait until the end where you get the big reveal,
Yes.
the third act, if you will, and you would kind of understand the fruition of the plan of
Mhm.
Kurt Russell's character. So
Yeah.
there was a couple things in there, but I would definitely say there was a couple of slow moments. But does it really weigh on my overall feeling of the movie, or does it weigh on my overall
True.
review of the movie? Probably not. Those moments are needed so we
Hmm.
have that connection. By the time we get to the end, everything comes full circle. So I
Yeah.
think without those kind of scenes, you don't get that fruition.
That's true, and I definitely agree with you there. There were some slow. The movie slowed down at parts, like Joe said. It kind of had to, but even then, for me, it wore and tore me a little bit. I was kind of sitting there like, I don't want to check my watch. Don't have a watch. Don't want to check my phone. Whatever.
Mhm.
But it didn't. That's not really what bothered me. There were also some. I thought some of the humor was a little forced.
Mm.
Some of the jokes you could kind of see them coming. And as awesome as I think Drax was in the movie, things would happen. Oh, Drax is going to make a joke here. He made a joke. Something really emotional just happened. Another joke. Maybe that was misplaced. Maybe that shouldn't have been there for me. That kind of like, and a lot of the big complaints about this movie is it was a movie built around the humor. And as opposed to one flowing story, it felt a little choppy. I kind of agree with that. It was kind of choppy. And for the first, 45 minutes, you couldn't really figure out what the goal of the movie was. They were kind of just hanging out with Star-Lord's dad, and everybody just kind of in one place. Then there's not a lot going on. But once it all comes together, and I love that you said this, Joe, once you figure out why this is happening and what's going on without going into spoilers, I think it tied in pretty well. And
Mhm.
when the movie drags on and you think back to those parts that it was dragging on, you're like, okay, I understand why they did it. I would have preferred maybe some more stuff happening, but I get why it was so slow in certain parts. And I get why some of the humor, because that's James Gunn's style. He likes to add more humor. And I will say, this movie was way more humorous than Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 1. And Volume 1 was chocked full of jokes, but they upped Drax. They upped, even Gamora had some jokes. Nebula had some jokes. There were some funny moments.
Rocket Raccoon
Dude,
had a
Rocket Man.
plethora.
That's the thing about this movie too, though. I mean, you try to pull an individual character and you try to talk about how awesome this one character was, but they were all so good. Like all of the characters in this movie, and I can't wait to see their interactions with the Avengers and their interactions with other characters that were established in this movie that James Gunn has already said are going to be in the upcoming Guardians of the Galaxy movies. So I think those were all absolutely awesome. So overall, I will say that while I didn't like this movie as much as the first one, I still dug it. And I would still say it's going to be in the upper echelon of the Marvel movies as opposed to the bottom, because there was so much in this movie to like, and so much that I think is going to push it to that top, not even top half, top half of the Marvel movies. So Joe, what are your overall thoughts? We're kind of wrapping this up now of Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2.
I thought that Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 definitely succeeded in being a adequate successor to Volume 1. I remember blogging about Volume 1, and if I'm not mistaken, I think I gave it like a 9.4. And I think that Volume 2 definitely is on the heels of the first film, just because of all the development and all the where are the characters now? What are they doing, and how are they evolving? How are they evolving as a team? And what's going on next in the planets, and how is everything aligning, and who's the big bad, who's the enemy, what's going on? So we found all that here in Volume 2, and I got to be honest. If I was going to be rating the film, so we're basing it off Volume 1. I would say 9.4. Volume 2, I would say Volume 2 maybe comes in at maybe an 8.9. That would be just me.
Okay.
Yeah.
Dude, that's a fantastic score. And before I give my score real quick, I want to plug. In 2 weeks, we have, was it 2 weeks?
Yeah.
2 weeks?
Oh, yeah.
Week,
well, technically now it's already the weekend, so maybe a week and 2 days.
So it's 1 week. So 1 week from now, we're going to go into spoilerific, incredible details on this movie. We're going to pull things that you may have missed. We're going to pull things during all of the post-credit scenes. You guys do not want to miss that. So be sure to subscribe to us at PopXCast on iTunes and on YouTube. And you guys can find us there. Joe does a wonderful job of writing all those shows.
Oh, stop it, Austin. Just go along. Gosh. We've got genetic makeup running through our veins, don't we? Oh my gosh!
Burke love here.
Oh my God! You're just
okay. I'm gonna give my score now.
Okay.
But you guys, I really enjoyed Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. I kept my expectations in check. If I would have shot them as high as the first one, I think I might have been disappointed. But where I kind of thought, okay, this may not be as good, so I'm going to put them. It definitely met my expectations. I enjoyed it. And while I did see flaws, more flaws than I saw in the first one, I still got to give this a positive score. So I'm going to go 8 out of 10. And I need another viewing because there's just so much to soak in this movie before I can rate it and rank it within the Marvel movies. I definitely need to see it again. But 8 out of 10 is my final score. Joe, you had 8.9 out of 10. What is the average there? I don't do math. That is an 8.45. 8.45.
Oh my God. Hooked on phonics works for me. I do want to say though, right quick before we go, when you tune into PopXCast, we are going to literally dissect many parts of the film, and we're also going to be talking. Those 5 post-credit scenes that you get. Well, we're actually, we're going to be diving into those exclusively and telling you who these people are, what their roles is, and what you can expect in Volume 3 and Infinity War and the MCU. So stay tuned for that.
And it, like he said, the MCU, these post-credit scenes do not just affect Guardians of the Galaxy. They affect the entire Marvel freaking universe. So you guys definitely need to stay tuned in for that. 8.45 is our, I'm getting so hyped up right now, is our average score. We're going to call it the Burke score. You're seeing that the Burke score is an 8.4. It's beautiful. Thank you guys so much for watching. Joe, where can they find you on the internet?
Well, I guess you can just pull up your little Twitters, and it's at Joseph Burke Arts. That's JOSEPHBURKEARTS. You can Instagram me, Twitter, and Facebook me.
I am at the Burkinator on the Twits and the Instagrams. You guys can subscribe to this channel, like this video, or just go home and eat some spaghetti. I don't care what you do. You guys have been absolutely fantastic. Be sure to go watch Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2, and we will catch you later. PopXCast, subscribe.
Yes. Should we look up at stuff while people are listening to music and maybe point at subscribe buttons from here on?
Dude, this is the ending right now, and my music's playing, so you guys can subscribe to the channel. Click there. catch this video there. PopXCast right there. I'll plug that, and you know, just the nipples. Here's my nipples. Here's my nips.